Now, allow me to introduce the dedicated York International team. First, we have Yojin Lee, who is the International Student Experience Coordinator overseeing the Orientation and Transition portfolio. And I am Pari Parusi. I'm one of the student coordinators here for the Orientation and Transition portfolio. I am an international student myself from India, and I'm going into my second year of the BBA program. And one of our other student coordinators is Rachel. She's not here today, but she will be joining us in future webinars. And by the end of this webinar, you should have a better grasp about housing options available for international students at York University. We will cover the on-campus housing choices, the application process, and key deadlines. You will also learn the benefits of living on campus as a first-year student, and we'll touch on housing options outside of campus as well. Our agenda for the day includes an informative presentation on living on campus, followed by options for living off campus, and after that we'll be having a Q&A session to address any concerns that students might have, and then wrap it up with some information about upcoming webinars and events. To set the ball rolling, we will now begin by inviting housing services at York University. The housing services team is dedicated to help students find the right accommodation on campus, as well as to provide support for students who are looking to live off campus. On that note, I would like to invite Aaron to head the presentation. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. My name is Aaron. I am the Assistant Manager supporting off-campus housing at Housing and Conference Services. And I am here to chat a little bit about both our on-campus and off-campus residence options. So to get us started, I do want to look at on-campus residence first. And at York, we offer housing across all three of our campuses, so the Keele campus, the Glendon campus, and the Markham campus. At Keele, we offer 9 different undergraduate residence buildings, and you can see them marked on the map to the right here. And we also offer 6 graduate apartment buildings. At the Glendon campus, we have 2 undergraduate residence buildings, and at the Markham campus, we offer 1 off-campus building that supports both our undergraduate and our graduate students. And I'm going to touch on each of these in a little bit more detail. So starting with our Keele residences, when you arrive at your residence room, and this is kind of the same across Keele, Glendon, and Markham, the things that you'll find in your room would be the single bed, and you can see that on the right there. You'll have a lamp, a desk, a chair, a dresser, a closet, and a garbage bin. So all of the standard furnishings that you would need, but you would need to bring your own, decorations and things to sort of liven up the space. Too far. We offer 2 different room styles at Keele. We offer both traditional style residence and suite style residence. Traditional style, it's typically our preferred choice for first year students. In trad style, we offer both double and single rooms. In a double room, you would be sharing that room space with another student. So a bedroom where you and another student are both living. You've got your separate beds, desks, closets, and everything in there, but you're sharing the actual physical room space with another person. Whereas in a single room, you have your own private bedroom where you have your bed and desk and everything that you saw in that previous slide all to yourself. In traditional style, regardless of if you're in a double or a single room, you will be sharing a common washroom and lounge with the other students living on your floor. So typically in a traditional style residence, you'll have roughly 20 to 25 students living on a floor, and you'd be sharing around 4 to 5 washrooms with those other students. And in the common washrooms and lounge, cleaning is provided by the housing services staff. As I said, it's a preferred choice for first year students. It's a great opportunity to make new friends. You're meeting a lot of other people who are sharing that same space as you, and you don't have to worry as much about cooking and cleaning for yourself. There is no kitchen available in traditional style residences, so a dining plan is required, as we want to make sure that you have access to food while you're staying here. In suite style, this is our preferred choice for upper year students. Again, we offer both single and double rooms, and it's kind of the same thing where in a single room you've got your private bedroom, whereas in a double room you are sharing that bedroom with another student. But you're sharing washrooms and a kitchen with the other students living in your suite. We offer suites of sizes between 2 people and 12 people. So depending on the type of suite that you've been assigned, that's how many people you would be sharing those washrooms and kitchen with. Again, it's a preferred choice for upper year students because you are cooking and cleaning for yourself. the washrooms and the kitchen would be cleaned by you and the other students living in the suite as opposed to the housing services staff. And because you have access to that kitchen, a dining plan is optional. So in our traditional style residences, again, we offer single and double rooms. You've got common shared washrooms, and those might either be communal washrooms or shared single stall. So in a communal washroom, you go into the washroom and you've got multiple stalls with toilets, showers, and sinks. Whereas in a shared single stall washroom, you're going into kind of a privately enclosed washroom that has the toilet, the sink, and the shower all self-contained. And the type of washrooms that you're assigned will just depend on the residence building that you're in, and you can find information about which washrooms are located where on our website. A dining plan is required in traditional style residence. As I said, there is no kitchen access, and we do offer common rooms in these residences for events and for getting to know other students in your community. The majority of our buildings at Kiel are traditional style, so Founders, Stong, Tatum Hall, Atkinson Suites, Vanier, Winters, and then half of Bethune are all traditional style residences. And here we have some photos of the different rooms. So in a traditional style single room, you can see on the left, you've got the bed, the desk. It's a bit of a smaller space because it's only housing one person, as opposed to on the right side, you've got the double room, significantly larger because you are housing two students in there. And you can see you've got the two separate beds, desks, closets, drawers, everything in that space. And this is a standard traditional style residence floor plan. I believe this is our Vanier residence. There are slight differences between each of the residences, but this is what you can anticipate seeing if you were to move into a traditional style building. So you've got the singles and double rooms kind of along the edge. In the middle, you can see Vanier has both the communal washroom up on top, that larger washroom, and then two of the shared single stall washrooms kind of on the bottom there. You've got two elevators, and then on the right side, you've got that large common room where you can meet other students and kind of just hang out. So our suite style residences feature, again, single and double rooms, and we've got between 2 and 12-person suites. And you can see on the bottom where we list the buildings, the type of suites that are associated with each building. So in Calumet, which is the residence that's pictured on the left there, we offer 6-person suites. In the half of Bethune that is suite style, there are both 4-person and 12-person suites. And then Pond offers 2-person suites. In suite style residences, they are semi-private bathrooms, so you're sharing the washrooms only with other students living in that suite with you. And you do have kitchen appliances available, so you're able to cook for yourself. And because of that, the dining plan is optional when you're living in these buildings. And so here we have some photos of our suite style rooms. Not a lot of difference from traditional style. The single room and double room is essentially the same. In the single room, you've got that private bed and all of those furnishings to yourself. In the double room, you are sharing that with another person. And here is a standard suite style residence floor plan. Again, there is significant difference between each of our different suite types. This is a Calumet suite, so it's a 6-person suite. You can see those 4 single rooms on the bottom and then 1 double room up top there. And you'd be sharing those 2 washrooms in red with the other students in that suite. And the lounge and the kitchen would be shared within the suite as well. So I'll talk a little bit about the Glendon residences. We offer 2 different residence buildings at Glendon. We have the Wood and the Hilliard residences. Most of the rooms at Glendon are traditional style residences, but there are a few semi-private suites available. And just like Kiel, we offer both single and double rooms. The floors at Glendon are primarily mixed gender floors. However, they do offer one female-only wing. And across the Glendon residences, a dining plan is required as there's no real kitchen access there. At Markham, Markham Housing is actually located off campus. There's no dedicated residence building on the campus, but we do have different suites available at Markham. It's a very small amount of spaces available that we're looking to hopefully expand in the future, but for now, we have around 35 spaces available at Markham, and it's located about 1.2 kilometers away from the actual physical campus, so about a 15-minute walk or about a 5-minute drive. You're looking at both single and double rooms at Markham in the shared 3 to 4-person suites, and we offer both single gender and mixed gender suites. We do offer free shuttle transportation to Markham campus from the building. There is a shuttle that runs between Kiel and Markham campus that will stop halfway through at the Markham campus residence building. And because an in-suite kitchen is provided, there is currently no dining plan option available at the Markham campus. So speaking of dining plans, for winter 2026, this is what the dining plans would look like. You can see on the left, we list the traditional style dining plan options, and on the right, we have the suite style dining plan options. They are essentially the same, except if you are living in a suite style residence, you may choose to have the suite convenience plan, which is a smaller dining plan. Because you have that kitchen facility available to you in suite style, you're not required to have a dining plan. But if you feel like you would like a little bit of funds to kind of supplement the cooking that you're doing for yourself, you may opt into the suite convenience plan, which is a more affordable plan. So for traditional style, you can choose either the entry plan, the standard plan, or the premium plan. For suite style, the entry standard, premium, or suite convenience. And please note that these are the rates for the winter term only. If you would like to look at the rates for the full 2025 to 2026 term, you can view those on our website. And just as a reminder, if you're living in traditional style residence, you are required to purchase a dining plan, whereas they are optional at the suite style residence buildings. And we don't currently have dining plans available at the Markham campus. And just to touch on accommodations a little bit, we do strive to meet the needs of students who have any specific medical requirements or physical disabilities. We do have adapted units available at Kiel for wheelchair users and rooms that are outfitted with visual alarms. We can meet virtually any accommodation needed, and we work very closely with SAS, Student Accessibility Services, to meet those needs. So there will be an opportunity on the housing application for you to disclose any accommodation needs that you have, and we will work with you and with SAS to meet those needs. So please, on the application, let us know anything that you would need. We want to make sure that housing is a comfortable and accessible experience for you. So please let us know so that we can work with you on those different things. So a little bit about why to choose residence. If you are still kind of thinking whether or not residence may be the right choice for you, a few reasons that you may consider living in residence. Firstly, the financial benefit. There is quite a significant benefit to having an 8-month contract as opposed to a 12-month lease. Anywhere else in Toronto, if you are signing a rental agreement, you would be signing a 12-month lease where you would be required to kind of live and pay for that space for the full 12-month year. Whereas in residence, our contracts are 8 months. So you are saving a little bit, especially if you're planning to, say, go home for the summer or live off campus somewhere for the summer. Residence is a benefit because you're not locked into that full 12-month lease. You're paying for the 8 months, and then we do have the opportunity for summer residence if that's something that you're interested in, but that's something that you could choose to opt into and pay for separately. As well, you'll be living physically on campus. This will significantly reduce any travel expenses, and all of your utilities are included in residence, so you're not paying any additional utility fees. Residence also offers significant community and belonging, especially when you are new to York. It can feel very overwhelming to meet so many people. York, especially the Keele campus, is a very large campus and there's a lot of people. So residence life really offers the opportunity to meet people in a smaller, more controlled environment where you'll have educational opportunities, social opportunities, different events and programming that go on every year, where you can kind of build that sense of community. You'll learn a lot of valuable skills in residence and kind of grow as an individual. Um, in terms of academic success, there is quite a bit of evidence that living on campus has a positive impact on overall grades, retention to your second year, and graduation rates. And I've actually linked an article at the bottom there that kind of supports the link between living on campus and the graduation rate of students. So if you're interested in that, it's a really good read. And your proximity to class. You are living physically on campus, right where your classes are, so your travel time to and from classes is significantly reduced. I always appreciated when I lived on campus that I could wake up 10 minutes before my class and still make it on time. So that can be a significant benefit to a lot of people. And it's easier to get involved with things like clubs, extracurriculars, and on-campus jobs. You're not physically having to go anywhere aside from just a short walk across campus to get to any clubs that you may be interested in or any on-campus jobs. So it can make it a lot more accessible to balance those different things with your academics when you're cutting out that travel time piece. So to speak a bit about the housing application process, the applications for winter 2026 are currently available, and you can find them on our Apply for Residence page at yorku.ca/housing. You are eligible to apply for residence once you've applied to a full-time degree program at York. Um, so even if you have not yet accepted your offer at York, you are still welcome to apply for residence. However, you will only receive an offer for residence once you've been accepted into your full-time degree program. So to speak a bit about the process, again, yorku.ca/housing is where you can find our application. And once you're there, you'll be able to click the apply button on the prospective Kiel undergraduate main page, or if you're applying to Glendon or Markham, you can find it on those pages. And this will take you to our housing portal. And we really recommend that you bookmark this. This is going to be kind of your central hub for everything moving forward with your housing application. And once you've moved in, it's where you'll find things like maintenance requests and other different forms that you'll need throughout the year. So once you're there, you can log in with your passport, your credentials, and click Apply Now, and that'll take you into the application process. So the application process, and I know that the screenshot makes it look long, but it really is only expected to take about 15 to 20 minutes, and you don't have to complete it in one sitting. You can exit and return to it at any time, and it'll save your progress for you. But we kind of go over the following topics just to collect information about what you're looking for in your residence experience so that we can help find the best space for you. So we will ask you some general information about yourself, your emergency contact, your housing preference, so whether you would prefer to live in a single gender unit or in a mixed gender or gender inclusive style unit, your room and building preferences, so if you prefer to live in a single room, a double room, suite style, traditional style, if you really specifically want to live in Tatum Hall residence or Vanier residence, you'll be able to share that there. Your lifestyle preferences, so we'll ask you different questions about, when you like to wake up in the morning, how much noise you like in your room, if you prefer to study in your room or if you prefer to go out to study, if you like to have friends over often. And we use this information to help match you with a roommate who has similar preferences, particularly if you're living in a double room or in a suite. We ask a little bit about accommodated housing. So if you have any housing accommodations that you would like us to consider, and similarly your dietary accommodations and preferences, you'll be able to choose your dining plan, and then we'll ask for any additional information that you hadn't yet had the opportunity to share with us. So a $250 application fee is required to complete your application. $100 of that is a non-refundable administrative fee. And regarding the rest of that, if you're interested in reading our cancellation policy and our refund policy, I encourage you to take a look through the current and new student FAQs on our website, the residence occupancy agreement and rates, and the application cancellation policy, all of which are on our website. And I really encourage you to get a good understanding of these policies regarding this and any other fees before making any, moves towards applying for residence. It's important that you have a full understanding of what these policies are, so you have a reasonable expectation of, what refunds you may be entitled to if you choose to cancel your application, and things like that moving forward. So in terms of next steps, move-in for the winter 2026 term will take place on Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. And more information about the move-in process will be provided to you closer to this date. We will start emailing you once you have a booking for residence with information about your move-in, what time you can expect to move in, where you need to go to pick up your keys, things that you should bring. All of that information will be communicated to you by email. And new this year, students who are living in undergraduate residence at Kiel and Glendon will receive property and liability insurance coverage included within their residence fees. So you do not have to go external anymore for insurance coverage if that's something that you are considering for residence. Having this coverage is really important if something, like a flood were to happen in your space, or something else that causes damage to any of your belongings. You're now covered under a property and liability insurance plan that you can read about on our website if you're curious about the specific terms of that. So as I said, the application cancellation process, the policy regarding that is available on our website, and I strongly encourage you to read through it before submitting your cancellation form and before submitting your application for residence. Ensuring that you have a full understanding of that will help you understand what potential refunds you are entitled to versus which aspects of fees are not refundable at all. If you do wish to cancel your application or your room reservation, you must complete the application cancellation form on our website. Once you've submitted that, that will cancel your application, and any potential refund that you are due would be assessed from there. Once you have moved in, you're not able to cancel your application anymore. We have a separate fee for if you wish to move out early, but I would encourage you to read through the policy regarding that to understand any potential financial ramifications of withdrawing early. So that is it for on-campus housing. I do want to speak a bit to off-campus housing options as well, just to give you the opportunity to kind of fully consider both of your options. There are benefits to living on and off campus. So it's important to have a full understanding of what your options are so that you can choose the best living option for you once you come to York. So as far as off-campus, we do offer an off-campus housing website, and you can find that right on our housing website. You'll see at the top the option to view off-campus housing. So if you navigate there, you'll see this. And right now we have two different options for beginning your search. We have the Forstay Marketplace and we have the Quad. And below that, you'll also find our off-campus resource hub. This hub is just to provide you some additional info about, renting in the Toronto area, your rights and responsibilities when you are a tenant, and some general information about safety when renting, avoiding scams, what to look for when you're viewing a unit, and information about, a lease agreement so that you can be fully prepared for what you can expect when you're renting in Ontario. So the Forestay Marketplace, this is a screenshot of the main page of that. This is our main platform for helping you find and secure rental accommodations that are nearby whichever of the York campuses you will be studying at. So you'll have the chance to choose. You can see right now that the Keele campus is selected, but you could choose Glendon or Markham as well. And then on the right, you can choose the dates that you're looking to stay for. So if you're only looking to stay for the winter term, you could choose, January 3rd, 2026, until your move-out date in April. And search from there, and that'll allow you to see all of the different listings that are available that meet the criteria that you've set. So you would see listings that are close by the Keele campus and that are available starting in January 2026. And so the Forstay Marketplace was launched in partnership with Forstay, which is a company that strives to assist students in finding affordable housing options that are located near the campus that they're studying at. And we launched that last summer. The marketplace features listings located near Keele and Markham and newly Glendon. We've introduced Glendon to the platform as well. And each listing is personally vetted by Forstay for their safety and legitimacy. So you know that the listings that you're seeing are real, genuine listings. And that's not to say that you should not still be, constantly wary of potential scams, and should not, still take the proper precautions that you would take with any housing search. You always, want to view a listing in person before you sign any agreements. And where possible, speak to other tenants if it's a shared housing accommodation to see what their experience has been. But at the very least, you know that these listings have been vetted by Forstay and are legitimate listings. And you can browse through the available listings. You can message the landlords directly through the platform, and you can book your stay directly through the platform. And while most of the listings on here are for 12-month leases, and we talked a little earlier about the benefits of a 12-month versus the 8-month residence agreement, there are also limited shorter stay options available on the Forstay Marketplace if you're looking for only a 1 or 2 semester stay. We got a QR code there on the right that will take you directly to the Forstay Marketplace. And I think the link is also in the chat. So when you're navigating through the marketplace, you can see on the right kind of what it would look like. You can use the filters at the top to narrow down your search. So you can input your budget. So if you're only looking for a maximum of, $2,000 a month for a rental, you can use that to see only the listings that fit that criteria. And there are a variety of filters on there. So if you're looking for something that is pet friendly, if you're looking for something that is, specifically within a house, if you're not interested in an apartment style living, you can filter for that as well. Under stay type, you can select either the entire place, a private room where you're, sharing the accommodations with some roommates, but you have your private bedroom, or a shared room. So much like the double rooms in residence, you'd be sharing that bedroom with another person within a shared accommodation. And again, you can choose the property type and use the price slider to set your minimum and maximum price to establish what your budget is. And I would really recommend taking a look at the off-campus hub on our website. We have a lot of information about building a budget and how to find listings that are specifically fit your financial situation. And I'd really recommend doing that before you even start looking for housing, so you have a solid grasp of what is your budget, where you have flexibility and where you don't, and kind of what you're looking for. It'll make filtering through, these hundreds of listings that you'll see on the marketplace a lot easier when you have an idea already of what you're looking for. So the Quad at York is another off-campus housing option. And I say off-campus, although they are located physically right on the border of the Keele campus. They are off-campus housing. They are not owned or operated by Housing and Conference Services. So they are external. If you sign with them, it is a 12-month lease, a standard lease like you'd be signing anywhere else. But you do get that benefit of still being physically really right on campus, but with kind of the off-campus housing lifestyle. The Off-Campus Resource Hub, as I spoke to, is on our website. This is our centralized list of resources that are available to you. On the left, you'll see off-campus living, and this is where you'll find info about searching for housing, preparing your living arrangements, finding roommates, financial planning, setting that budget, having an idea of what you're looking for, your responsibilities of a tenant, how you can find information about maintenance, things like that. In the middle, we have university resources, so just general resources to support you as a student while you're living off campus. The Office of Student Community Relations, counseling, health and well-being, engagement, transportation services. And then on the right, we have safety. I really recommend taking a look through the safety resources, particularly Rent Safe Toronto and safety tips for international students will help you when you are finding a listing to avoid scams, avoid getting caught up in something that you don't want to be a part of. Unfortunately, there are people out there who rent accommodations that do not meet the standards that are set by the City of Toronto or the Province of Ontario that may not be safe. They may not have a safe, fire evacuation plan. They may not be suitable housing, and they may not be a positive experience for you. So it's important to have a good understanding of, when you're covered by provincial legislation like the Residential Tenancies Act and when you're not. And the resources on the student safety and the off-campus living pages will help you kind of to ascertain that. And I am also a resource that is available to you. So if you are unsure about a listing, if you are interested in a listing that has been posted, but you're just not quite sure, something feels off about it for you, that's something that I'd be happy to chat with you about because I do want to make sure that, you're putting yourself in a situation that is a positive living space for you and not, a situation where you find yourself trapped in a rental agreement that is not meeting your needs or is not allowing you to feel safe in where you're living. So as far as city and community resources, and this is what you'll find on that safety page, we've got the Tribunals Ontario, and they provide guidance on resolving disputes between yourself and your landlord. So if you feel that your landlord has done something that violates your rights as a tenant, Tribunals Ontario can offer a lot of guidance on how you can navigate that situation and advocate for yourself. Rent Safe Toronto, they offer a ton of different resources about safety when you are renting. They will give you a good idea of, building maintenance standards, evaluations of buildings, forms, templates, things like that. So if you are feeling unsafe in a situation regarding your rental, this would be the place to start for finding information about how to move forward. And then Toronto Rentals gives general information kind of about eviction laws, housing standards, finding housing. So if you're struggling with finding housing in Toronto, they can be a really great resource for you and legal help. So if you're in a situation where, again, your rights have been violated by a landlord or by a fellow tenant, they can provide a lot of guidance on how you can advocate for yourself in that situation. All right, I think that's it from me.
Thank you, Aaron, for the informative presentation. We hope that the students have the opportunity to learn about how York University can support them in terms of housing. We will now open the floor to any questions you may have. Please use the Q&A feature to submit your questions and we will address them accordingly. And as we give everyone a bit of time to type in their questions, I'd like to go over a few common questions we received in previous webinars. These might address some concerns you haven't thought of yet, and hopefully they'll give you some additional insights. So I'll start us off with one of the most common questions, which is, will I get to choose a particular residence building I would like to stay in?
A great question. Yes, it is definitely the most common one that we receive as well. On the application, you'll be sharing your preferences for the residence building that you would like to stay in. So you won't at that stage be selecting any particular building. You'll just be letting us know what you would prefer. However, this past year, we introduced for the first time room self-selection, where students had the opportunity to go in and select their own residence room. And so that is something that we still offer. However, given that we're moving into the winter term and most of our rooms have already been filled, most students will just be assigned a space for the winter term. And we do our best to accommodate the preferences that you share on your application. However, our room assignments are always subject to what is available at that time. That being said, you are welcome at any point to submit a transfer request form. So if you have received a room assignment that you're okay with but isn't quite your favorite and you are interested in moving to a different room, Using that transfer request form will let us know that and let us know what your preference would be. And you would then be put on a wait list for a space in your preferred building if one becomes available throughout the year.
Perfect, thank you. The next question we have is, can I apply for York apartment housing as an undergraduate student?
Typically, no. We reserve our York Apartments buildings for graduate students. However, if you are a mature undergraduate student, and we define mature as older than 27 years of age, you may be able to apply for York Apartments. You may be eligible, and I would encourage you to take a look at the York Apartments website and even reach out to our team. The email to contact our York Apartments team would be apstatus@yorku.ca, and they can help guide you through if you would be eligible for York Apartments based on your situation.
Perfect, thank you for that. The next question we have is, can I decline a room offer and still be considered for another residence?
Yes and no. If you were to decline your room offer, your application is automatically canceled at that point. But you are welcome to reapply at no additional cost. However, we can't guarantee that at that point you would receive another room offer. You would be then put to kind of the bottom of the wait list, and we will continue to process through applications. So if a space is still available for another residence, we would then offer that to you once your turn comes up, and you can choose to accept or decline. But there is that risk with declining a room offer of not receiving another potential offer. So my recommendation is always to accept the offer and then apply for a transfer later on once the transfer request form opens.
Thank you for that. The next question we have is, are we allowed to bring kitchen appliances like toasters to the residence?
Appliances do vary. We do have information in our residence occupancy agreement about what is and isn't allowed. In general, appliances are not allowed to be owned or operated or used in the bedroom space. However, you may be able to use something like that in the common room space. But I would always recommend referring to the occupancy agreement for the full kind of info about what you can and cannot bring into residence.
Perfect. And the last question we have is, for off-campus housing, does York provide support to find a roommate?
Currently, we don't have a dedicated platform for finding a roommate built into our off-campus site, although it is something that we are looking at. As far as general support, my advice is always to kind of reach out to people in your program or people that you've connected with while you've been here. But if you haven't had an opportunity to meet other students at York yet, there is information on our off-campus website about tips and tricks for finding a roommate and questions that you may want to ask somebody who you're considering rooming with. So I would recommend starting there to get an idea of where you can begin your search for that roommate.
Perfect. We also have some questions in the chat. The first question we have is, I received a housing offer at 90 Attiskin Road, moving in with my family in the first week of January. Do you have photos for this?
Photos will be available on our website, depending on the unit type that you have been offered. It sounds like if you're moving in with family, you may be moving into York Apartments housing. So you could reach out to us again at AP Status would be the email to connect with us at, and they've probably already reached out to you with your offer anyways, to see if any photos are available. But we do have photos of all of our graduate room types on our website if you go to the York U Housing website and then navigate to the graduate housing page.
Perfect. The next question we have is, do you offer short-term rentals?
We do not offer short-term rentals at this point, unfortunately. All of our undergraduate housing options are for the full either 8-month contract or 4 months for those who are coming for the winter term. But we don't offer anything shorter than that. Honestly, the Forstay Marketplace that we were talking about would be your best place to start looking for short-term rentals. They do have quite a few short stay options, usually about a minimum of 1 month stays listed on that website.
Thank you, Erin. The last question we have is, we shall be arriving on December 26th and wait for the move-in date, which is the first week of January 2026. I believe this is the same person that asked about short-term rentals. So I'm assuming they're asking if there's just that period of like around a week that they could stay somewhere.
We don't have anything in terms of residence to accommodate for that period of time. My recommendation would be to look at local hotel options or Airbnb in the area. for finding a short stay that would be able to accommodate you for that 1 week period, as unfortunately, because the university will be closed, we won't be able to accommodate anyone between that December to January period.
Right. We also have another question which says, for the winter break, will I be asked to leave the residence at that time?
If you are already in residence prior to the winter break, yes, students are asked to move out for the winter break period. You may request to stay in residence over the period, and there is a $500 fee associated with staying over that period of time. Um, Otherwise, we ask students to leave 24 hours after their last exam, and they'll be able to return on January 3rd. You're welcome to keep all of your belongings in the room. You only have to take what you need, but you physically wouldn't have access to your room during that period of time. And the form to request to stay over the winter break will be becoming available very soon, and you'll receive that by email if you're already in residence.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for those amazing questions. Since we have no more questions, we will now take a look at a few of our upcoming webinars. Oh, sorry. At a few of our upcoming webinars and sessions, you may continue to use the Q&A feature if you have any more questions during this portion of the webinar. And just a small reminder, all the links for registration will be placed in the chat. First up, we have the study permit application support session. If you're ready to start your journey to Canada, join York International's licensed immigration advisors for an expert-led session that breaks down the study permit process, helps you avoid common mistakes, and sets you up for success. Next up, we have financial planning for international students. Managing your finances abroad can be overwhelming. That's why our webinar offers practical guidance on budgeting, understanding the cost of living in Canada, accessing scholarships, bursaries, and financial resources to support your academic journey. And then we have Global Connect October. If you're excited to start your journey at York and wondering how to make friends, come hang out with other new international students at Global Connect. We've got fun activities, great vibes, and the perfect chance to make friends and start building your community even before your term begins. And here we have our events calendar where you can find not only our upcoming events, but also our next drop in sessions and appointments with our immigration advisors, which you can register for directly through our calendar. I would suggest you folks bookmark it to your browsers for easy reference. And before we wrap up, we'd like to encourage everyone to stay connected with us through our social media channels. By following us, you'll receive important updates, event announcements, and opportunities to engage with the York community. And before we end today's webinar, I'll just take a quick look at the chat to see if we have any more questions. And looks like we have no more questions. So thank you all again for attending, and we're looking forward to seeing you at future webinars and events.